Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures.
There's so many things I want to touch on with things that you said, including the obstacle with the chain and I think the tractor pull, whatever it was called. I remember having to like dodge those, it'd be behind people. But what has it been like to see the sport evolve and change over the years?
It's been quite interesting. When I first came in 2013, I was the new person, and everyone who'd been around since like 2010 when it first started were kind of like, oh, here's this runner. And, I got a little vibe of like, oh, when I won, it was like basically because it was just like a runner's course. But then I think eventually when I got on American Ninja Warrior and got to finals a couple times, I was able to prove that, hey, I've got other skills too. I can do a lot of pull-ups. And, I will say that the heavy carries generally are not where I thrive, but I also, I can hold my own in them as well. I used to do paper routes. I mean, I remember being a small child. And I mean, when I say small child, I mean like 6 or 7, like not like 10, but like 6, 7. And carrying one of those big paper route bags that were like as big as I was, and the papers were like banging on my knee as I was walking. And so, we had some paper routes on our very own block and the block next door and all that. And this is back in the 80s where kids actually like roamed off and then came
Yeah.
back,
Yep.
not like being like tracked. So, anyways, it was interesting. And then I'd done personal training in a gym, and I'd ventured outside and taken all my clients outside the summer or two before I'd started OCR. And I was carrying a good solid 80 pounds worth of weights. Now I'd done it in a couple of rounds, but I was carrying them across this beautiful park in Seattle called Gasworks Park. So I was getting some heavy carries in. It's not that I was like coming from CrossFit or anything, but it's kind of a beautiful thing about this sport is that there are different types of athletes coming from different backgrounds. And it's been really neat to be in the sport for many years now and see people come in with more of a strength background and then really work on their running, or come in with these ninja skills, work on, their heavy carries and their running, or whatever the case may be. And I love having races where there's someone whose skills are completely opposite of mine.
Yeah.
So then we just go back and forth and back and forth. And there used to be Amelia back in the day, and we put on some good shows on the NBC Sports. And now it's been in the last couple of years a little bit more Christopher Glosky, where quite a few races I've just gone back and forth with her, and it's so fun because I get like a tutorial in doing heavy carries, and I get this like tutorial. And actually, I would say her ninja skills are better than mine. Mine are good. They fluctuate depending on whether or not I'm actually in one place next to a ninja gym. I certainly love to do them. I love the feeling of flying through the air and using momentum and all of that. But yeah, having Chris right there, and then I I pass her on the run, or maybe I get up just right up to her on the run. Then I watch her do the monkey bars, and I'm like doing them myself, but also analyzing with one eyeball, like, oh, that's a cool way to do it, and oh, she chose that way. Now I can see why, or So that's been really a neat part of it, is to to race next to people who are different than I am. And really, I majored in sociology in college, and it's a beautiful thing I love about life and humans in general, is that I feel like I learned so much from people who aren't like me.
Yeah.
I want to be surrounded by people who make me think critically, who make me question what I feel so strongly about. So I actually I've thought it's really been fun to watch the sport evolve. It's, when I first started on NBC Sports races, the series races were basically supers and sprints. Now these sprints were very long sprints, so it's not like they were still like, almost an hour long. In track and field, that's a straight up endurance event,
Yeah.
but it's a sprint uh, in the Spartan world. So, but they're like shorter, closer to an hour and a half, and then after a while, they evolved more into beasts, and in more technical trail, and I wasn't thrilled at first, of course, because I was like, oh man, like this sport was so great. Now, oh golly, this is, a lot harder. And so I had to just decide if I was going to keep doing it or not. And I decided if I'm going to keep doing it, I want to do it well. So my family and I moved to Colorado, and I went a couple times in the summers before I had my daughter. And Tim was supportive and he loves Colorado. So, I said, okay, I'm going to learn how to run up mountains and run down mountains and run down rocky spots. And so that was neat because it forced me to get better at endurance running, get better at technical running, get better at all of these weaknesses I had.
Right.
And now that it's changed more to shorter stuff, the 3K, I'm like, woohoo! Now there's one part of me that's like, oh man, I put so much work into working on this other skill. But 99% of me is like, woohoo! I get to go and like do what I just personally, and again, this is all personal. I'm just speaking for myself. There are lots of other ways to look at it. What do spectators like to look at? What do other racers enjoy? What's good for the sport as a whole? So just right now I'm talking about my own personal self, which is that I'm grateful for the push out of my comfort zone that I was forced to do, running those longer, more technical trail races. And now I'm super pumped that I get to go back and do some shorter stuff because I just love the training more. And with a child, this training still takes a lot of time, but it's not quite as long. Like, bye-bye, I'll be off in the trails for 3 hours.
Right.
It's Sunday without me because then afterwards I'm done. I'm going to need a nap because I'm going to be super tired. And now it's a little bit more like I can incorporate my daughter in a little bit more, a little more, a little shorter on the runs, a little more intense, and then some more strength training. And she can go with me to like